Last week we started a new series on motivating for excellence. And I talked to you about a leadership dynamic. A dynamic that was taught to me by my father and my secretary. Believe the best in people to acquire the best from people. And so we talked about motivating without heartache. A pastor friend relates this about a church leader. Quite frankly, the pastor said this leader was about as stubborn a person he'd ever met. He tried every way possible to motivate the leader to make needed changes in the organization he was in charge of. He couldn't be moved. His mind was made up. The sad part about this was the potential of the leader. The pastor wanted to keep him. He was a natural born leader. People followed him at the drop of the hat. But the pastor wanted him to see the potential of the church and what the church could do if he would get on board with the program. Well, I suggested that one of the things he needed to do as a pastor was to befriend this person and convince him he needed to attend a leader conference held by 2 American pastors. I suggested this pastor attend a meeting with the leader, and together they could work through this situation. The meeting lasted a few days. The results were miraculous. The leader became so excited about the growth and potential of his church. It was amazing under his leadership what the church was able to do to move forward with the pastor, and the pastor was overwhelmed by the results. The most unlikely person can be motivated when you touch the right buttons. There are others in the church who are exciting to be around. They are easily motivated. Internal motivation anticipates possibilities. The person motivated from within believes success can be achieved. They can be counted on to get the job done. Every church needs a few of these individuals. External motivation means that there are those outside with outside forces for people who can motivate others. God can use pastors, staff members, lay leaders, and even events to bring about motivation. Motivation is internal and it's external. For example, God uses the proclamation of the Word to move people to make a decision. This is motivation. Here are some additional ways to motivate leaders and lead them toward excellence. Example. Motivate by example. The Lord Jesus Christ is a great example. His caring approach, reaching spirit, loving compassion for people are an example for all believers. He was willing to do whatever God wanted in order to redeem mankind. He was willing to pay the ultimate price for the sins of man. Jesus said that when things were done for the very least, they were done for Him. If church leaders wanted to be involved in visitation, then they themselves must be involved. If a teacher wants class members to participate in outreach and witnessing activities, then the teacher must be involved in these things. Developing a loving and caring and compassionate spirit among others requires the one leading to be loving and caring and compassionate. No one will motivate anyone to do anything if they're not the person they want others to be. A pastor seeking to lead his people in a particular direction should never ask the people to do anything he's not willing to do. Don't do like the pastor who said, "Don't do as I do, but do as I say." Let's say the church is conducting a fundraising project for a new building. Church members are asked to give the tithe above the tithe. Well, when the people are asked to sacrificially give to a community project, their leaders must do the same. You don't motivate people apart from an example. The next example for leadership development is competence. Many leaders feel ineffective in what they do. This is a competency problem. The lack of competency among workers is a major problem in many churches. It has brought about by untrained, underdeveloped leaders who lack competency skills. Leaders can motivate others by helping them to become competent in their work. Competent workers are influential, consistent, trustworthy, and effective. They are workers who stay on the job. In conferences I've conducted, leaders have complained about their workers. Many of their workers appear to be poor leaders. Here are some examples. For instance, non-participation in planning meetings, never see the need to be in outreach projects, spend their time complaining and fault finding. These are workers, regardless of all else, they are incompetent. Christ gave us His best. The least we can do is to give our best. There should never be a place for shoddy work and lackluster commitment. Leaders need to realize that providing training opportunities will develop worker skills. The end result is that incompetent workers will become competent workers. Their development and maturity begin to show up in their lives and in the lives of their ministry, in the lives of others and their ministry. Next week, we'll talk more about these.